Coming up on today's show, you get to be a part of a live taping of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up and Show Up Live. I am your host, Portia Scott, and this is your daily show, giving you a daily dose of inspiration and empowerment to take your life off autopilot. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining. Mommy, darling, thank you so much for joining. It looks like Gretchen is in. Thank you so much for joining, darling. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello and good morning. Hello, girl. Hey, girl, how are you? So one of the things I always love to do, we always love to do, is I want to know, where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? As always, you guys know how we do it is that when something resonates with you, whether from our community or something I say, we always type in, hello, darling. And that's to let us know that we've said something, that somebody in the community has said something that really resonates with you. So today, what are you grateful for? What are you guys grateful for, my friends? I want to hear, I want to hear, I want to hear. I am super grateful that, you know what? I guess I'm grateful for the breath that I'm able to breathe. I think in this time and in this moment, we said it before, and I know I've said it before, and I'll say it again, is that it's so important that that I'm just grateful for health. I'm grateful for health, especially in the midst of everything that's going on. So I try not to take that for granted. And each and every day, I am grateful for it. I am empowered by it, and just trying to take care of myself to make sure that everything that I can do, I do to ensure that I stay healthy. So what are you guys grateful for? Come in, come in, come in. I'm super excited about this episode. I'm super excited about this show because I get to take you guys on a journey, the journey that I do every single week, whether it's a solo episode or an interview. And this is the process by which the Wake Up and Show Up podcast is born every single week. And so that's the reason for the headphones, so I can hear, because we are doing a live taping of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast. And so what does that mean? That means that you guys are going to be our house guests for this particular week. And I'm going to do the podcast. You guys get to watch, but guess what? You guys get to hear it first because you guys are live. So Rena says she is grateful for life. Yes, darling. Yes, yes, yes. I'm telling you, it's something serious. Tamika says, hello from North Carolina. I'm grateful for reconnecting with impactful friends that are visionaries. Girlfriend, me too. And you are one of those friends. I'm so grateful for you, love. So you guys, I'm super excited about this. One of the things that we always like to do is we either pair with an organization or we kind of pick an organization to do an act of kindness. And this particular week, I want you guys to be kind to yourselves. I want you guys to take this time and take this week to do and be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. I think it's so important, especially at this time where we're giving, because we have, and it's amazing because we've been able to help people that couldn't. And I just want you guys to take a break. I want you to breathe in and out, and I want you to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace this week. That's going to be our act of kindness. That's the thing that I want to be on your mind. So as people are coming in, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that you guys were going to be a part of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast. So this episode is actually launching this week. And I thought it would just be fun that you guys get to see kind of behind the scenes and that you guys get to come on with me. Queen said, amen to that. Yes, yes, yes. Be kind to yourself. Hey, Queen. It's been so long. Oh my goodness. I miss all of my Boston family. And so I want you guys to see the behind the scenes, but I want you guys to come in with me. And so today we are going to talk about the title for this particular episode is going to be Explore and Discover. And I'm super excited because some of you guys know the story of how John and I met. And then some of you guys don't, but this story has a little twist on it a little bit if you have heard the story before. I'm trying to give a little time for people to come in, but I do want to go in. So you guys, just to get hello, love. Just want to let everybody know that whenever somebody in the community, whenever I say something, says something that resonates with you, we say, hello, darling. So type those in the comments. If I say something, if somebody in the community says something and you're like, girl, yes, guy, yes, hello, darling is what we do. Daryl says, grateful that my mandatory work from home has been extended to September 14th. Yes, 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 yes. That is exciting. I think now that we've gone from work to from home, a lot of companies know that it can be done. So you guys, I am going to jump right into the show. You guys, I can see your comments. I may not comment back, but I am going to let our podcast community know that you have shown up for this. And I'm so, so excited. Tracy, thank you so much for joining, darling. Aria, thank you so much for joining. Aria is another amazing podcast, and her podcast is called Colored Lens Podcast. And it is amazing. You can go get it on Apple. You can go get it on Spotify, on Stitcher. I think all the things where all the podcast is. And so go support her. She's another woman. She's another woman of color. And so we want to make sure that we are pushing our stories out there so that they may be heard. So you guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Paula, thank you so much for joining. And so you guys know, if we say anything, hello, darling, is what we type in the comments. I'm super excited to have you guys here. And this is what it looks like on the other end of the podcast episode. So you guys get to be here. So are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Type in hello, darling, hello, darling, hello, darling, if you are ready to go with me and see and hear the way that it works. So I am ready, and I will see you guys. So hello, darling. Yes. Hello, darlings, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast. I am so excited because this week we are joined by some incredible, incredible house guests. These house guests are part of our Wake Up and Show Up live daily show. And so they are taking this ride with me and with us. And so we are recording this particular episode live right now. So you'll get to hear all the me flub through all kind of words and everything that happens pre-edit. And I'm just super excited that, one, I get to serve this community with the podcast and with the daily show. And so this week's episode, I kind of went back and forth about what I wanted to say, what I wanted to do with this particular episode, because so much is going on and so much is happening. And weekly, I do a weekly COVID-19 update. And so I felt like I actually wanted to bring something a little bit different, because I know we're inundated by the information of COVID-19, of coronavirus, and how it has just shifted our lives and shifted different things. And so I thought that today was Cinco de Mayo. So this is being recorded on May 5th, and it's a Tuesday. And the one thing that I thought about when I thought about Tuesday is I thought about my first date with my husband, John Henry Scott III, our occasional co-host. And our first date was on a Tuesday, and it just so happened to be Taco Tuesday. So for many of you guys, you may have heard the story, but my husband and I met in Iraq. So I was deployed as a soldier in Iraq, and my husband was a contractor there. He was working for a government organization. He was a government contractor there in Iraq when we met. And so when I went to Iraq, I did not want a man. I was not looking for a man. I was not even thinking about a man. What I wanted to do was I wanted to finish this tour, because this tour would be the end of my military career. And I knew that. I wanted to come back home. I wanted to finish up my degree. I knew I was going to live in downtown Atlanta in one of the high rises that they had been building, because I always knew I wanted to live in the city, not necessarily having to be New York or Chicago or anyone like that, but I wanted to be in the city. Atlanta was a great place. I'd lived here. I went to high school here. I loved it. And so I knew where I was going to live, or I thought where I was going to live. And I was going to use this time to explore and discover me. I wanted to explore and I wanted to discover me again. I had gotten out of a relationship maybe almost a year prior to me deploying, and it was really, really hard. And in between that year of me getting out of a relationship, getting deployed, and meeting my husband, one of the things that I knew was that whoever I was going to court or date, that it was going to have to be something serious pertaining to, okay, we're going to get married. And so that's why I didn't want one now, because I didn't want to get married at that time. I was like, girl, you are good. Let me tell you, I had paid off all my debt. Your girl was out here good. I was saving money. I think I had saved more money than I had ever saved in my life. And for the first time, I was debt free, everything except for my car at that particular time. And so we go, and I started to see this guy. And the first time I saw him, he had on this light blue button up crisp shirt. And I later began to know that he loved to shop at Express. And so that's where he got the shirt from. But I began to see him, and I really didn't think anything of it because, one, I didn't want a man. Two, I was I was just fine. And three, I was exploring and I was discovering myself and what I wanted and what I didn't want. What were my non negotiables? Who was Portia at this time? And so, and also, one of the things that I also knew was I had decided to be celibate. I had decided that whoever I was going to be with, they were going to have to respect that, because I wanted to make sure that I knew that person for who they were and not just the physical, because so oftentimes we learn people in the physical and it completely blinds us from all kind of other stuff. It blinds us from who they are. And yes, I am. You guys know I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. And so I believed in that, waiting for marriage. But I had already, I had already not waited for marriage. But at this point in my life, that's what I wanted. That's some of the exploration and discovery of myself that I had made a decision about. So I knew that that was probably going to wipe out 75, 85, 90% of the men anyway. So I was good. I was cool. And this year, on our 14th year anniversary, my husband did something for me. He's a really good writer. He writes the best poems, he writes the best cards. He is really a wordsmith. And so for our 14th anniversary, he wrote a book of these life lessons that he's learned within the 14 years that we have been together. And so I called this Explore and Discovery because lesson number 7 says, chemistry is only as valuable to the degree one is willing to explore and discover the new. And I thought that was like amazing. Chemistry is only as valuable to the degree one is willing to explore and discover anew. And I do believe that some things just fit like a hand in a glove. And I believe that my husband and I fit like a glove. But I also know that it's work. I also know it's in the discovery. I also know that many of us are gifted and talented in certain areas that are just natural, that it just fits, that you can get up and you just sing and people just cry, or you get up and you speak and people listen, or you draw, or you give and people just see your heart. We all have so many different skills and talents and gifts, and those come natural. But the wow factors happen when chemistry meets with our gift. And that chemistry is being able to explore and discover what that is, who that is. And that's where the chemistry comes. And so I had been seeing my husband for a good little bit. Like I told you guys, I was seeing him. And I remember going to a friend of mine and I said, girl, I did not come here for a man. I said, but I keep seeing this guy. I keep seeing this guy. And at the time, he used to minister on the side where he was because he worked for KBR at the time, and also on the military side. And so at the time, they called him Elder Scott. That's what his name was, his title, just because that was what he was in the church. And I told her, and I remember leaving that day, and I remember saying, God, if he is not your best, send me your best. Because at that time, I was like, look, I don't want anybody, and I don't want nobody. I don't want just anybody either. So if he's not the one, it's fine. But whoever you are going to send me, make sure he's your best. Make sure he's your best. And so time went on, and I ended up getting a chain email. This was in the day where chain emails were the thing. Like, everybody got chain emails. And it was this email about a brick, and this brick hitting this guy's car and getting his attention, kind of like how God had to get his attention. And so I forwarded that email off to a group of people. And he was one of the people that was on the chain letter. And so that Sunday, I got to church, and after church, all of the ministers and everyone that kind of ministered on that platform, they all lined up outside of the theater where we were having church. And I kind of I wore my weapon, where the weapon was actually on my back, but it was like the holder or whatever was across my chest. And so I walk up, and he's right there, and he says, "You're Eaton. You're the one." And I was like, "Yeah, I am. How are you?" And that was like the first time we ever spoke. And then that Monday, he emailed me, and he said, "I had a dream about you." And he was just like, "God is going to do amazing things in your life. And I just see so much for you." And I was like, "Thank you. That's so kind. That's so sweet." Remember, I was not trying to get no man. So I was not flirting. I was like, "Okay, thank you, sir. That's real nice." And then Monday, we kept on talking, and we kept on speaking. And so Monday night, he asked me out on a date Tuesday. And so that's what kind of brought me and had me thinking about, oh, Taco Tuesday is like our thing, because that was when we had our first initial date. And I just remember that even during the courting period, and even during all of that, like, it was a time of discovery. It was a time of exploration. There were some things that I knew I wanted, and some things that I didn't want. And so when I thought about the podcast for today, I thought about the situation where he and I met. He and I met, and it's a great love story. But you have to remember that we met in Iraq. And I can remember Michael is on here as well. And he was in the unit that I was deployed with. And I remember the days when we would hear rockets go off. And I remember the days when we would have to put on all of our gear and go into the nearest bunker. I remember the days when they would go off really, really close. I remember the days that before we got there, it had went off at the PX, and people had lost their lives. And so while we had this beautiful love story, in between that love story, we were running from mortars. We were afraid. We were sometimes scared. There were people in the midst of that were losing their lives. It was sometimes hard being away. There were soldiers that had just had babies, and they were away from their babies. It was hard to have to um, just see what was going on. But in between all of that, you have this love story. You have this story of exploration and discovery. And I often sit back and wonder and say, it's funny to talk about the love story now. It's nice for people to hear the love story now, but we were in the midst of war. We were in the midst of me having to take soldiers to go see counselors because they could not deal with it. We were in the midst of me praying for soldiers that didn't want to live anymore, that were scared, that had seen their other battle buddies and their friends. They had to wake up in bunks where somebody else was. And so I say that right now as we're exploring and discovering is because even in the midst of this pandemic, I wonder what your love story will be. Not your love story just with someone else, but what will your love story be after this? Will your love story be, I found who I was? Would your love story be, I did something in the midst of this, and it was in the midst of that discomfort, in the midst of this craziness that we had carved out this small moment to explore, to discover, to breathe life into one another, to breathe life into people. And one of the things that I don't want to happen is I don't want us to go back to normal. In a way, I don't want to go back to normal. Yeah, I want to go back to being able to go to the store without fear, without PPE on. I want to be able to go out to a park and let my kids run around without worrying who was the last person that was there. I want to be able to go to the mall and ride on a plane again and go back to South Africa and go to New Zealand and go wherever I want to go. But I don't want to miss this moment. I don't want to miss this moment of clarity. I don't want to miss this moment that gave me just a little more time to explore myself, to discover the people around me, to love on me just a little bit more. I don't want to go back to the busyness of life. One of the things that I want to make sure is that when we're able to go back out, and when we're able to do all the stuff that I've discovered, that I've explored the newness in an uncomfortable situation, the love story that an uncomfortable, that a crazy situation can bring out because I've been in a crazy situation and we were able to carve out a newness of that. I'm not good being a first grade and a seventh grade teacher. And my kids are not good at being a first grade and a seventh grade student. And so we began to discover one another and explore what worked for them. That's when chemistry came. That's when we were able to figure out what works for us. I wonder how many of us are going to explore who we are, what we like, what we want, what we don't want, what's currently now important. I was not looking for a man. I wasn't looking for a husband. And when he came, I realized I didn't need him. I wanted him. That's when I knew I was healed. I wonder in this time period if there'll be time for us to sit back and take our healing, if there'll be time for us to sit back and take our joy back and take our strength back and be restored in this moment. I want us to take time to discover, maybe take a day and just relax, maybe a couple of hours to be by yourself. Maybe dance like nobody's watching. Maybe sing like nobody can hear you. At the end of quarantine, when we're able to go back outside and run all the errands we can run, and we're carpooling and Ubering kids back and forth to their daily activities, do you want your life to look exactly the same? Or do you want to come out with more self discovery, more self exploration, and with a greater understanding of you? While I do want some things to go back, I'm enjoying the fact that life has slowed down just a bit for me to catch my breath. My prayer is that we don't miss the lessons during this season. I tried to hold on to the lessons while I was in Iraq, and I still go back, and I believe I learned the lessons. I sat with the lessons in an uncomfortable place. And when I got back to normal, when I got back to the US, I had discovered a new facet of Portia that I loved even more. So that's my prayer, is that we don't miss the lessons, that we don't miss the discovery, that we don't miss the exploration in this season. So I'll leave you with the very thing we started with. Chemistry is only as valuable to the degree one is willing to explore and discover the new. As always, we end every show with this declaration. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you. I see all the comments. Portia, your hair is gorgeous. Thank you, Carrie, darling. Carrie and I went to high school together. I see hello, darling. I say the same thing. I don't want business as usual. Absolutely. We want to get back to a healthier place. But man, if we can get back to not only a healthier environment, but a healthier us, that would be incredible. Thank you so much, Queen darling. That was amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining. That was so much fun. We definitely have to do that again. Magaline, hello, darling. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Ty said, yes, darling. Michael, you were the person God placed on that deployment that kept me grounded in him. So grateful for you, lady. Oh my goodness. Michael, we love you and your family. Michael and his family are actually missionaries, and they're currently in North Carolina now. But we were in the military together. And after he got out of the military, him and his family were missionaries in Ecuador. So you guys keep the Reeves family in prayer as they go forth and do their missions just as a family. No more business as usual. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Erica. Erica said, beautiful. Thank you so much. I have on the notifications on, so I will tune in again. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. One of the things that I do want to let you guys know is that if you want to keep in touch with the show, as well as the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, you can text the phrase wake up to 31996. That's wake up to 31996. We send a reminder when the show is going live on Mondays. On Wednesdays, we share another one. And on Fridays, we try to send out something inspirational to you. We do not spam you. We just want to stay in contact with you. Also, Queen said it best that you can turn on the notifications so that you don't miss the show. So as you're scrolling, as you're on, you'll see it. It'll ask you if you want to turn the notifications on. I'm super excited. One of the things that I want to reach out, you guys have been so just supportive in this, and I absolutely love it. I thank you. I don't take it for granted that you guys have 1,000 things you could be doing at 12 o'clock, but you choose to show up here. Listen. On Mondays, what I love to do here is I love to essentially take a story, a motivational moment. So if you are interested in being on the show, you'll be on the show with me. We'll do an interview and spread some of that kindness, some of that inspiration, some of that encouragement through your story. I believe that we can create a kinder world through storytelling, and we're able to humanize humanity with stories. When we understand that we are so much more alike than we are different, I love to tell your story. I love to tell your story on here or on the podcast, or if there's someone that you know, let me know. Put it in the comments, PM me, or you can send us an email at hello@portiascott.com. That's hello@portiascott.com. If you are showing up in your life, in humanity, I want to hear about it. And that's what we talk about. Taking your life off autopilot, optimizing the power of your uniqueness and executing intentionally. And so if you fit any one of those bills, we want to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you. I appreciate it. We are here tomorrow, same time, same place. And as always, we literally end every show with this declaration. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. I will see you guys tomorrow, darling. Same bat time, same bat channel.